Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. VSG 185 coming at you another Monday evening edition. Hope everybody is doing really well. My name is Daniel Young, coming to you from just outside of Houston, Texas, alongside brother Tuta Salam and brother Brandon Cruz. I don't know where they are.
Evening.
Hey, good evening.
Scottsdale.
I'm just outside of Union Station in downtown Denver.
Nice.
Who's ever like Union Station is a land? I know it's a landmark, but like, is that what you would say?
What I would say in what situation? It depends on what the situation is.
I don't know. I just don't feel like that's a great answer to that
So
question.
like introducing yourself for VSG 185 is
I don't have to introduce myself. I've been on here 185 times, and I think people know who I am by now.
He needs no intro.
It's not that I'm such a phenomenal, magnanimous dude, but I've been on here 185 times.
well, not everyone else has been on here 185 times. Maybe some
newbies
on here 0 times.
That's right.
That's true. That's a good point. Let me calm myself down. I had a long day at work. Sorry.
Well, I could tell in pre-production that you're a little bit fired up over some things, so we would give you
All right.
Yeah, that's that. I think we're ready to rock and roll. Let's watch some football plays.
So looks like the pre-production was Tuta, do you know what supply and demand means at all?
I have a supply of granola and my belly is demanding it. So
there you go.
I'm busy right now. Thank you.
Well, obviously there was some miscommunication in the pre-production meeting, but that's okay. We've only got 20 plays to get through, and we average about 30 minutes a play. So I don't know what kind of, that's 10 hours. So just buckle up. Just buckle up.
Let's just turn and burn, baby.
Turn and burn. Let's start.
Awful.
Let's start right here.
That won't be hard.
Oh,
let's start right here. All right. So here we go. We're going to see the play. There's action around the runner.
I want me a piece of that.
Yeah, I know you do. But hang on just 1 second there, Mr. Slum. We know that there's a poll up and it's really long. I was inspired by the poll writer last week. We know that we like to talk about elements and developing process elements when it comes to officiating. Now, you do see a flag on this play, and we're going to talk about flag placement. I don't even know what he called because I want to talk about a lot of different things. The poll's up, so let me address the poll first. We like to talk about process elements. So when we talk holding, we talk restriction. We talk about timing or delay. We talk about proximity. We talk about some other things too. But just for this poll, let's figure out about these elements of our offensive holding process. So we're watching the block by 76. Is the restriction there? Yes or no? That meets your threshold from you watching. Is there enough delay between the restriction and the ball becoming dead? And is that action proximal to the point of attack? Is usually how we talk about it. Okay, so we're gonna let the poll go. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what happens with those poll results, as it always is.
I nailed this. I'm acing this test so far.
This is a pop quiz.
Well, I know. I'm all over it.
Okay, here we go. But hang on 1 second.
Oh, sure.
Everybody thinks he called holding. Everybody thinks he called holding, right? Look at the line judge. This is excellent. Watch on this wide view, sideline wide view. Watch the line judge come in. Watch the line judge come in. He's coming in. He's coming in pretty hard. Like, if there's a hold in the middle of the field, why is the line judge coming in, do you think?
I really liked proximal. That was nice.
Did you?
I did.
I think I heard you say that once.
I don't think so.
It's the first compliment I've paid you in calendar year 2024.
No, it's not.
Yeah, proximal to the point of attack. It just rolls off the tongue, man.
It's good. It's good.
Line judge coming in hard. Line judge thought he called face mask. So this is really excellent. I like that. I like the line judge coming in. We've heard in the past, make sure you don't muddy the waters. Muddy the waters. I want you to muddy the waters. If you're independently thinking that perhaps the center judge in this case called face mask, especially if I'm the center judge and it's not a face mask and that's what I called, please come in and muddy the waters. And what would you say here if you're the line judge? The line judge clearly doesn't have a face mask or he would have had a flag. So what would you say if you're the line judge here?
I was
Where do you
asking,
call?
hey, you have a face mask on that tackle?
I was gonna say, what's your
Okay,
flag?
we heard you both at the same time, which was really, really good syncing. Not so good when we're trying to be clear, but we heard you both do it two different ways.
Yeah.
I think Tuta, you said, what did you say? What's your flag?
I'm asking him, hey, are you calling face mask?
Oh no, you were direct. So you called, and then
Yeah.
Daniel said, you said, what's your flag for?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
So what do you like
smack
better?
Daniel if he asked me what my flag is for. It's none of your business what my flag is for.
What
If you
kind
want to
of
bring
is?
information,
Just if it's
Daniel,
wrong.
ask me about what you think I'm calling. Otherwise, I'm gonna smack you right in the middle of the field. I swear.
There's two
Until you
things.
look at your call and see that it's wrong.
Yeah. So you're not smacking anybody. First thing.
That's true. That's very true.
Oh shoot.
Second thing is, what's your problem? What's wrong with that? Why don't you like that?
No, that's fine. I'm good with that. I just needed to inject some humor and some levity to this.
I think he had some meetings today where he got beaten down a little bit and he couldn't.
Man, I've been beat down a lot recently at work. I'm being honest.
It's pretty easy to read the room.
Goodness
I hope
gracious.
you don't play poker either. You got a bad.
I'm an amazing poker player.
Yeah, I can tell. Okay, so different ways to skin the cat. I kind of like if I'm the line judge coming in and saying, "Are you calling face mask?" and then seeing what the center judge says. So I don't know. I
knew you were smart, Brandon. I knew you were. Actually, I didn't know you were smart, but I knew there were some times that you would display.
You thought I could come around?
Elements that may make you appear to be smart, and this is one of those.
If you think I'm catering to your opinion, you can think again.
I want to smack you for asking me if I'm calling face mask. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't you just say no?
You don't like that, DY?
No, idiot. I'm not. Get out of my face.
Okay. Well, hey, dude. I'm glad you're not, because I would have just saved you a massively incorrect call, which you seem to worry about a lot.
Okay.
No, you don't. But okay, well, I don't really care. I just think it's interesting. Different crews handle it different ways. Different personalities handle it different ways. I guess for me, it's just I don't care what anybody really says, because I need to. If I'm the flag thrower, I need to know what I called. If I'm the non-flag thrower, I need to go seek information out. The bottom line is we get the information, and we have. Oh, I already forgot your great saying about communication. The transaction. What was it?
I'm eating granola. You need to figure it out on your own.
Okay. The communication is a transaction or something like that. But anyways, we need to have that transaction. So if you're calling face mask and somebody comes in and says, "Are you throwing for a face mask?" That's probably a good reason to engage in that conversation.
Very true.
Tell me the saying that you.
I don't remember. It was something like that. It's communication is a
You probably should have written that one down. You need to go back to your notes that you don't take. Because it's a good thing.
I got so many of those. It's like those are like piled in the corner in my room.
Notes or good sayings?
Good sayings. I got a million
that are yours.
Yes. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
That pile.
All of them.
I hope you're not trying to stay warm by burning that pile. That's gonna be a quick night. Fire's gonna go right through there.
Do people still burn fires to stay warm?
Absolutely. Oh. You should. It's a really good way to. It's a really good way to produce heat. It's not that efficient, however.
It's HVAC systems. There's these new things called like heaters and air conditioners. You press a button and it just voila, it automatically does it for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to chop wood. You don't have to try to start the fire and do all that other stuff.
Okay, I just closed the poll, probably too early, but you know what? We got some feedback, so I closed it. Oh, by the way, this is a good example of what Mr. Cheffers was teaching, it sounds like, down in Dallas about have a spot for your flag.
Oh yeah, he
Right?
would have lost his mind on this play.
Lost his mind. Yeah. Pregame probably would have ended for us, which isn't ever a bad thing at times, but I mean, it wouldn't have gone well if this was us. I know that.
Yeah.
So anyways, from this position, let's just have a spot for our flag, and hopefully it's not near the midsection of the running back, because that easily could have been very unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's the basic spot.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. Let's see if we want this called first. So
It depends on if you answer my question, Daniel. Are you throwing a face mask or not? And if you raise your hand to smack me, I swear it's gonna get ugly on this field.
It's already ugly. 71% said yes to all three. 14% said not enough of a delay, but yes to restriction of proximity.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then 7% said there's restriction, there's a delay, but it doesn't meet proximity. And then 7% said no restriction. No restriction, but there is a delay and it is close. So I think there's restriction though. Do you?
I need 7% of us to log off right now, please. And
don't log off.
Do something else.
Don't log off.
Man, did somebody ask you to log off a Zoom meeting today? Oh.
No.
All of your everything's coming out. That's okay. I think there's restrictions.
As a coach, you don't ever give up on the players. Is that what you're saying? You never give up on your players?
Never. That's
okay.
Probably not true. Well, it depends.
I know that's not true.
2018, I had to get a new set of players. There's restriction. That's restriction. Let's just
definitely restriction.
Agree that there's
the dude reached out, grabbed him, and really quickly
after he was
to the ground. Yeah, that's definitely restriction.
It's restriction. Yeah, that left hand. I mean, geez, it is is it really that much is going to result in that much? And the answer is yes. They just can absolutely ragdoll these guys when they're moving fast. Okay, so what about, let's talk delay and proximity. Let's talk proximity first. Well, geez, I mean, that's the hole the runner's going into. So when we're talking proximity, proximal to the point of attack, this is what we're talking about. It couldn't be more proximal to the point of attack, right?
It's like 2 feet away from him.
This is the closest defender to the ball when he gets.
You know the opposite of proximal, Brandon?
Distal.
Whoa.
Dang, we're
now you shocked me with that one. I'm not gonna lie. How did you know that?
I've got a pretty good biology background that you probably don't know about.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you did fail a bunch of medical companies. I forgot about that.
Right. That's not fair. There was a global pandemic that was not very. Anyways, we probably don't need to get into that.
So yeah, I agree. This is very proximal to the point of attack, the runner, the ball. Well, I guess maybe that's a question. When we say proximity, we are referencing the area around the ball, the live ball, correct?
Yeah. So good. I like it. I think to me, it's the area. It's either at. Help me out, Daniel. It's either at where the ball is or where the ball is where the ball could be going. You see what I'm saying? Because if we're just talking proximity,
I like that one.
Yes, because if we're just talking the proximity element, forget about time. Forget about time for a second. It's either at where the ball is or where the ball is going. In my opinion.
Well, I don't like that, Brandon.
Okay.
Because how do you know where the ball is going?
Well, you know where the play is designed to go. Now there's cutbacks, there's reverses.
Yeah, that's
what. But again, that changes.
I don't like all
the proximity is dynamic, dude. That can change fast.
I agree, but for me, I think it's relative to where the ball is.
Okay.
Daniel, what do you think?
Let me close this thought with the point of attack is a very dynamic thing and can change on a dime. And I mean, it can go from one side of the line to the other.
And it changes based upon what, Brandon Cruz?
Well, the play design.
No.
Okay.
No, that's a lie. That ain't what
You're saying the location of the ball is the only factor that dictates the point of attack.
Exactly. Because if a dude is running one way and then he turns and runs the other way, that point of attack changes because the ball carrier and his direction changed.
Okay, I'm good with that because what I'm trying to do is I just realized what I'm trying to do. So this is good. I'm glad it's February. It's not February now, it's March. I'm glad it's March 4th. Yeah. I'm trying to put time into my proximal evaluation.
I think you are. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, DY.
Why are you apologizing to him? He doesn't own this
because I kept no, he doesn't own it, but I kept talking and I think he was probably going to have something smart to say.
He had nothing intelligent to say, but we'll pause and let him go ahead and say it. Go ahead, DY.
Well, I mean, it's anticlimactic at this point. It feels forced and awkward. So
what did I tell you, Brandon?
Okay, good. Yeah, my bad. I'm going with you now. Okay, let's go to the delay. So this is proximal for sure. Delay. Now, here's what I'll say about delay. Delay can be represented by time. Well, delay is always represented by time, actually. But a lot of times, what is the easiest way to determine a delay is how many extra yards a runner gains after the restriction.
Right.
But that's not always the best way to do it, right? That's not always the best way to do it. So with that said, where are you at on this? How about we start with Daniel, since you're not making much sense tonight.
Well, what's the question? Is there a delay between the restriction?
Is the delay component in our little algorithm here sufficient to help us make a determination of really, the impact of this restriction?
Well, I don't think those are always the same thing. When we talk about delay, what we're talking about is the time from the restriction to when the ball comes dead.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about when we're making that determination. Now, there's other things maybe that you can consider, and this is a great play to talk about that, but the delay is certainly sufficient from the time that we have restriction to the time that the ball becomes dead. There's no question about that. We have a delay. Now, the other part you said was, okay, well, is it enough to create an impact? We can have that conversation for sure. Because I think
that's the later conversation, right?
Yeah, but the delay is there. The reason we talk about delay is because if this restriction is happening in such a tight time frame to when the ball carrier becomes dead, we have to ask ourselves, because we know that by, I think, documented standard, if it's occurring as the runner is being tackled, we're not going to have a flag for OH. And then, maybe there's degrees around that, right? When you do that, this doesn't fall into that category at all. The delay is there. Bam, restriction, ball's dead.
Yep. Okay. I like it. Okay. So I'm yes. But now, does that automatically mean I should throw my flag?
See, that's what it was interesting listening to this last conversation of what y'all were talking about.
In targeting, when we go yes of the three elements, we have a foul.
Right.
Holding is just weird, man.
It is weird. And I think that if we would have just asked to this before looking at the play, we probably would have been like, yeah, you got it all. You got all you need. Restriction,
you really do.
Play.
No, you do. Yeah, I think you do. You have, if you just talk about the factors, you have all you need.
You got all you need.
And look at the speed of the center judge did call holding, by the way. I was just trying to get everybody off the scent. He did not call face mask.
Oh, nice job.
Line judge did a great. I do think the line judge did a great job coming in, just confirming that. But anyways, now I love the center judge is patient with his flag.
Very patient.
And I love that. And that's what we've been talking a lot, around other areas of the world talk. When we see action like this, let's take a breath. Let's take a breath and assess impact. So we don't want to call on the action. We want to call on the impact. These three factors usually do a great job, and maybe they do here. We're going to get there. But these three factors 99.9% of the time, do a great job informing us of the impact. If these three factors are a yes, we pretty much have holding all the time. But I just don't think it's as explicit as, for example, targeting. With that said, where do you arrive at? You put these three factors in the blender. What do you think here?
Well, so I think I think you could never say that this is gosh, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to stop. It's hard to argue with this foul given everything that we just went over, right? Like that's our process for calling offensive holding. So I think it's really hard to argue that it's wrong. If I'm the center judge on this play and I'm watching all of this unfold, I really just don't think I need to throw a flag here. And that's hard when you have at the point of attack a throw down to the ground. But gosh, it's just absolutely meaningless on this play. It's just absolutely meaningless. And, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
I don't like that at all. Well, let me ask you this question, DY. Does the fact that we're on the team B 30-yard line have any way into your decision-making process at all?
No.
Should it?
I don't know. I guess not, since I said no.
Well, we're going to drop their ass from the 30 to the 40. And I know one thing, a college kicker, ain't too many college kickers banging a 57-yard field goal.
Yeah, I would just say for what, though? Like, what are we doing that for?
Well, I would just say, first of all, we gotta put those three elements together in the blender like we talked about. So we're not talking about manufacturing some type of fouling action. This is clearly fouling action that we all agree with.
Sure.
But I feel like you're saying we don't need to throw this flag because there's no real impact. So how are you defining impact?
Yeah, I think this is one of those really rare plays where it's all right in front of us and we can tell immediately without any hesitation or doubt that there's no impact.
Impact in terms of what, though? That's why I want you to define
impact. In terms of the defenses, or in terms of the offense's ability to gain yards or gain an advantage from their illegal act. Because that's why I think what Brandon said is so poignant about holding is just unique, where we're really evaluating the impact of the illegal act and the advantage it creates for Team A.
So you're saying even without this illegal act, this play likely was not going to gain many yards because the defense clearly just won the play?
I think he loses yards because of the illegal act. I think his own guy ends up getting his way. I think if he doesn't block him,
that's probably true, honestly.
If he blocks him legally, he probably gets more yards.
Right.
That's not a factor we're gonna put in.
No, absolutely not.
No. Yeah, we're just watching.
This is videotape officiating for sure. And again, man, like I'm not saying you can't like this flag is incorrect or wrong. I'm not saying that.
Absolutely, this is absolutely a correct call.
Absolutely, 10 out of 10 times. I'm just saying,
no question about it. But
I think I would just feel great about myself to say, God dang, he held the crap out of that dude, and I'm not doing that.
So, what would you write in your foul report?
I would probably write a 76 threw down the defender in front of the running back, who then proceeded to lose extra yards as the hole was closed.
And
that's the reason. It's just like there's a lot of these plays where we want to do that, and I'm on the other side. We're like, well, we just don't know. You know what I mean? Like you just don't know how that would evolve.
I'll tell you why.
Usually
when that happens, the runner kind of skirts by and one or two more steps, right? And we're like, gosh, maybe he wouldn't have made the tackle anyways. But like this defender really accomplishes everything he wants to on this play other than making the tackle. And then his teammates right there to make the tackle.
Right. So Brandon, you kind of, it sounds like you agree with Daniel. We probably, if we
Well-
evaluate this through a totality, we probably should just hold the flag.
I can absolutely support that. Let me ask you this though. If I pose a question right now, just between us, does it matter if, because we called this and we asked the coach, is it going to sway your opinion of if we should call this if the coach accepted or declined the penalty?
I don't know.
It's a
I don't
question.
even like
It's just a
thinking
question.
about that. I understand. I like
I know
where you're.
that's not how we're officiating. I know, but we're just informing ourselves to make decisions in the future.
I think for me, the better question for me would be when we're in a spring clinic and a coach happens to be in there and we ask the coach, would you want this called if you were,
if you're on defense?
Yeah, that's a little better question for me.
Or would it, a better question to coach be, would you understand why we didn't call this?
Oh, yeah, yes, that's a better question, because then we'll really find out if he really wants it called or not.
Right.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's a good, yeah. See, that's what I would prefer to do. I think that question would be more fair for me versus whether the coach declined or accepted the penalty. I don't give a shit about. Wow, I need to watch my language. I don't care about that. I would, yeah. When I'm officiating in the game, I don't care about all that other outside stuff.
That's fair.
But I do think I would love to know what a coach's opinion is on this type of play and our decision-making process.
I just this is so much different than a hold that springs the runner for extra yardage. I mean, it's just so much different. And that's why it's so frustrating to hear that people think, that officials aren't consistent. And you know what? Maybe officials are not consistent. That might very well be true. But you can't compare like this play if it's not called. I'm saying in the realm where it's not called, you can't compare to this play to a play that is called with a much less restriction, but the runner goes right off that block and runs for significant yardage. I mean, you just can't compare these two plays. This is one of the biggest restrictions you'll see all year. This is just a no-brainer. But then if we take a deep breath and we call on the impact, you might be justified not calling it. I mean, if you call it, it's correct. We're getting some questions about call all takedowns. What about that?
Oh yeah, that's a thing for some.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't necessarily call this a takedown, believe it or not.
Yeah.
No, I just call it's a really bad hook because a takedown is more of a grab and restrict category, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. He just spun this dude. His body, the defender's body mechanics spun himself down because of the hook. But I don't believe that the offensive lineman actually pulled him and took him to the ground. I know we're talking semantics here, but
not really, because if you are processing this action and you call this a takedown, and let's say that's what you light up, you wouldn't be happy with yourself. What I'm hearing you say.
I would not be happy with myself. Because I have him hooking with the right arm across the chest, left arm, across the chest, and I don't have him taking the player to the ground.
Interesting. It's just kind of the going to the ground is almost incidental to the hook.
Yes.
Kind of. Okay. All right. So, question about, is this a hook and turn? So, I mean, again, semantics. We've really settled, I think, on the categories of offensive holding as takedown, tackle, which is rare, but it happens, and then grab and restrict, hook and restrict. So hook and turn, I think, is more in the DPI world. Yeah. But I mean, he hooks him and turns him, but that's the restriction. So that's why it's a hook and restrict.
Hook and restrict.
Again, all semantics. Okay, well, this is our crew's got to be on the same page with what we're doing with plays like this. Hopefully our program has to be, right? Hopefully across the country we are. It's just an impossible thing.
How would you get, Brandon? I'm glad you mentioned that. How would you get? You're the referee. You got a couple of dudes on the crew. Somebody with a really strong opinion. And we're kind of having this discussion about, you know what, we probably could get away with not throwing this flag. And somebody with a really strong opinion is like, man, I'm calling that every day. That's a foul. I don't care what y'all say. I'm calling that every day.
They'll support it. It's correct, right? That's what we'll hear.
Right. How do we work through that if we want, as a crew, if we kind of decide together, you know what, let's really fully evaluate this, and if we see something like this, let's maybe pass on it. Sure. How do we work through that?
Just first of all, I want to make sure that we are grounded in why we're passing, so that we're just very, very clear. Like, we don't want this whole philosophy thing to creep to where we just are not calling stuff.
Right.
So that's kind of a unnecessary answer to your question, but something that I'm thinking about, because I would rather us. Okay, here's why I say this. I would rather us call this than us pass on stuff that's obvious fouls that we need to call just because we're trying to, manufacture not throwing a flag. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think
I love that. Yes.
I think sometimes we do that. Mm-hmm. I've been on crews that have done that.
Right.
I've done that. I've also called things that I wasn't happy about. So I've been in all. I think we all have. But anyways, we get into a point where we're just looking for every little reason not to call a flag, and sometimes the best thing is just to throw the flag.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not answering your question. I just
that's good though, because this is really what I'm getting to is these crew discussions and how do we handle them. And you're right, we could get to the point where we inadvertently start encouraging folks to just pass on stuff.
Just don't call anything.
Yeah. So I like that.
It's like, we said we're just gonna get the big ones. We're looking for impact, right? And so, I think it's just depending on this individual's personality, who you might be thinking about or talking about, or just a fictional person.
Might be me.
It might be you. It's just gonna be. It's just gonna be. Okay. So, learning more about why that person is so adamant that this needs to be called. Mm-hmm. And just having that discussion. And look, I was never big on trying to solve disagreements there in the room, because it's such a journey for all of us. And it's like, okay, well, this is just going to be a continuation and we're just going to have this discussion. And sometimes those discussions lasted all year. The themes would just pop out in every pregame or every other or whatever. And it would be great if we were all just perfectly cohesive on every little element of the game. It's just not reality, right? It's just not reality. We're all trained differently. So, I just think it's going to be an evolution over time, and understanding why you want this called, if it's you, so you're so adamant on that's informative. And then we can continue to talk, and we can disagree a little bit, but we can hopefully make it productive. Certainly had productive discussions around stuff like this. I've had unproductive discussions where I was kind of like, oh, shoot, I didn't really do a good job on that one, Yeah. But I don't know. It just depends on the person and why they're saying, like, why are you so adamant you want this called? Like, if we agree that our goal is to make the game play as well as it possibly can on TV, this could be one we could take a deep breath on and not call. Mm-hmm. And then we don't have to stop the game. The game keeps flowing, and that's just better for the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Here's the thing. Well. Yeah, if we throw a quick flag, if we're in the habit of throwing quick flags on action, this is going to get called 1,000% of the time.
It is.
So the best learning from this play, whether this should be called or not, which is for everybody to decide for themselves, quite frankly. The best thing to do is watch the center judge's pace, in my opinion, and then watch how long it takes him to throw the flag, which is something that I immediately noticed, because it's something I personally am working on still and will always be. Now, we want the flag thrown in a different area, but the pace at which it was thrown was outstanding. And, a lot goes into that deep breath right there in what we're thinking, how we're responding to action on the field while other action's going on.
Yep. All right. Well, 35 minutes on a simple holding play.
I know.
Well, okay, but what's the basic spot?
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. The result of the play is a run that ends behind the neutral zone.
Right.
So then the poll would be 3 options: end of the run, previous spot and spot of the foul. And
And
so
one of those we can eliminate immediately.
yeah,
It's never the basic spot.
the spot of the foul is never the basic spot. So, and we know that when the end of the run ends behind the neutral zone, then the previous spot is the basic spot. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
I
Now
always get confused. That's not an exception?
I don't
No.
think that's an exception.
So the end of the run is not always the basic spot on a running play.
No, on runs that either have no neutral zone or in beyond the neutral zone, the end of the runs,
It's
the
the end of the run.
related run is the
Got
basic.
it. Okay, got it. Well, there you go.
So then the basic spot's the previous spot, run that ends behind the neutral zone.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that inform flag placement, do we think?
That means it doesn't matter where you throw it. You can throw it like I used to tell you all the time when we worked together, Dan. You throw all your flags in Africa, and nobody even knows they're there. And I think this is one where we could throw this flag to Africa, and it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
And look, I don't know that we're always thinking about, okay, how are we going to enforce this when we're throwing it? But we should be pretty comfortable behind the line of scrimmage, basic spots, the previous spot, and now we've got a list of exceptions that we're going to enforce from the previous spot, holding being one of those. And that just gives us a little bit of freedom to feel like we don't have to laser this spot of this foul. But also just as general practice, I'm sure Tutak could teach us this after Dallas, but as general practice, think about finding your spot laterally, not the spot of the action, but think about the yard line and finding that laterally. And then if we couple that with the understanding that, wow, this is behind the line of scrimmage. I know that OH is an exception. I know what I'm calling, even if the line judge doesn't. Now I can just put this in Africa and not have to worry about it.
You know, it's interesting when we have dead ball personal fouls, there's nobody that tries to hit that spot with a dead ball personal foul. They always
They just
throw the
launch
flag
the
right up in
flag.
the air.
Yeah.
Which is appropriate.
Because we inherently, I think, because you mentioned that, Daniel, we don't have to think about enforcement, but I think inherently we know dead ball personal fouls are going to be tacked on.
Right.
And so we don't even think about, well, I got to hit the spot of where this action occurred. We just throw the flag up in the air.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
All right. You know what we didn't do a good job of is supporting why this should be called. I mean, we kind of did. We talked about everything's there for this to be a foul, and it's certainly correct if called. And here comes Ron Snodgrass with a very level-headed. Imagine this. Ron Snodgrass has a very level-headed approach to officiating a football game.
Right.
So I love this. Okay. So ideally we would like to have all our calls demonstrate an impact on the play. However, there are some fouls such as this that are so clear and obvious, which we all agree with that. In my opinion, you have to call for the optics and integrity of the game. So that's interesting. We didn't talk about that yet.
No, we didn't mention that.
Another counter argument is what if the U or someone backside had a foul in the defense? Okay. And so I'll start with the one on the defense, and I'll let you guys take optics and integrity since that's what your specialty is. I'm just kidding. I don't know how much I put into the whole offset with the defense thing. I get the argument. Like, I really get it. I just want to create – if I deem this to be a foul that deserves a flag, I just want to throw the flag, you know. And if I deem this to be an action that doesn't deserve a flag, I just feel like I want to evaluate it there, and I want to be very comfortable in my evaluation. Now, if we want to put a fourth factor that's optics and integrity, I'm cool with that. That kind of makes sense to me in a way. It speaks to me a lot. I'll just quickly say, for me, the whole defense offset thing on holding, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of grabbing every play. And I don't want to get in the thought of, gosh, if I don't call that, what if there's a defensive foul that could have offset? I don't know. I don't know if that works for me to be at my best, but I understand the argument. So I don't know what you guys think about that one, and then go to optics and integrity.
I feel the same way. I mean, I don't really have anything else to elaborate on relative to that, but I really approach it the same way. Because we could take that and now we have standards that will fly in the face of that. Like, so this same hold as the ball carrier is being tackled, to me, that same principle, like by definition, it's a foul. So
Mhm.
even if we have a DOF or something in the back end that we feel like it needs to be called, we're still not going to call that or flag that based upon a documented standard. I think if it's a foul and it rises to the level, we flag it, and we just stand on that regardless of what else is going on the other side of the ball.
Well, I think what you allude to is interesting and is the risk. So it's hard as holding is, and we all know how hard it is.
Yeah.
I would hate to be in a position where I have to adjust my standard based on the amount of restriction, proximal to the point of attack, the delay between the restriction and the ball becoming dead. I would hate to have to adjust all those standards just because there was a DOF call or something. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to. I don't know if I personally could operate in that environment. Maybe I could get there, but today I don't think I could.
Yeah. So. Yeah, for all of those reasons, I kind of struggle with that approach too. Now, the optics part certainly speaks to me, and I
think that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I do, and I think you can apply it to here and not be at all, because you could. It's tantamount to like a defender who kind of jumps into the neutral zone and then stops and probably put themselves at a disadvantage once the ball snap because all of their momentum is gone and now they have to restart. But the game just doesn't allow for us to not call that because you just can't, right? You can't justify. Everybody and their grandmother sees that. And so if this foul falls into that kind of scope for you, where you feel like it's just one of those to where we don't call it and now the announcers are saying, gosh, man, these guys have no clue what they're doing, or, a fan, or, and somebody at the administrative office who doesn't really understand all of the nuance that we use and making. Maybe they understand. I shouldn't. Let's just say it's possible that somebody somewhere involved in the game sees that and you just tank like, oh, these guys have no clue what they're doing. So I certainly think that that's something that we need to be mindful of when we're calling fouls for sure.
All right, well, that's good discussion. I think all of those are important to consider, including, I'm not trying to, minimize the defense offset thing. I've heard that a lot. I understand why I'm a talker. I try to think about that and how that impacts what I do. I'm just not sure that I want that into my process, but I do get it. I do get it. It's certainly it could be a hot button for people like Rod says. What if this, if this is a face mask and then we pass on the hold like that, that's easily something that might diminish the perception of our competence. You called the face mask, but you didn't call a hold. And we've done that before. We've done that. In fact, there's plays where the guy who commits the face mask is getting held. And we only call the face mask because that's the thing that jumps out. And we didn't have the angle on the hold, and that's just unfortunate.
Saw a big one of those this year. Yeah. And by the way, that matters. The perception of our competence. If you're thinking, which probably nobody is, but on the off chance, if you're thinking, well, that's not a thing. Oh, that's a thing. That's incredibly relevant to what we do.
Oh, it's incredibly relevant to what we're going to do next week and 6 weeks from now and at the end of the year. So, I know that we're all trying to be like Ron Snodgrass and get all these big games. And Daniel Young, I guess.
Well, and Tuta just wants to work every game ever.
That's not true.
You do.
That's not true. I want to work those interesting games that we will all watch on TV that we don't get a chance to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. I love the discussion, and that's why I appreciate what we do. It's like I could come up with 10 reasons why I want this call, to come up with 10 reasons why I don't want this call, that could articulate them all, I think, because of what we've done. What we've done in discussing this stuff. And not just saying hold or no, because it is. It's a hold. It's obviously a hold, right? But just for the greater good of everything. Let's get more nuance than that. So that was a good job, and we can all take these back to whoever we have discussions with, if you want, because the play will be available. All right, Salam, what do you want to do next? That's one play out of 20. So, we got a lot to go here.
You want to do some substitution stuff, or you want to jump into some clock and other issues.
Okay, let's go subs leading into clock. So that'll be perfect. So this game, this was an excellent game that I didn't.
Where was this game played, by the way?
Yeah, I know. We always seem to get back there somehow. There's a lot of games.
I know exactly.
All right, watch the body language of the offense after this. So the offense is trying to score. They're down 7, 3.5 minutes to go, right?
Yeah.
And you see the wide receiver rolling his fingers, and eventually the officials stop the play. And actually, the announcement is that there's no play. The defense was not allowed to match up to an offensive sub. And guess what the coach thinks?
He said we didn't sub.
We didn't sub. So I think we're gonna start to understand what happened here. But just as you watch the offensive body language, I hate to go against our brothers in stripes here and brothers and sisters in stripes. But as you watch the offensive body language, I don't think they subbed. 86 runs the ball right back in. Everybody gets to the line quick. I don't think they subbed.
Is the white team at that same side? Like, could we have
made it
auto sub?
There it is. So watch the line of scrimmage official. What are we doing with these new rules? Not so new anymore. We're a year in, but new rules on a first down outside of 2. We're winding the clock, right?
Right.
That's what we're doing. So, I mean, and emphatically we do that, and that's a great job. I think that's good mechanics. The question I have is this: if you had the runner down inbounds and he immediately, and even the quarterback's like playing a guitar, I think that means let's go fast or something. I don't know. If you have the runner down inbounds and he immediately, maybe his toe hits the white or whatever happens, he kind of rolls in, half his body's in the white. Line of scrimmage official winding the clock, communicating to everybody, and a really good job. But can this become a team box auto sub to you?
Yes, I like how you added that to you part on at the end. This is really great, and in general, as a referee, I like to have the sideline officials own auto subs. I heard a different terminology last week. I can't remember what they called it, but they called it something else. We call it auto sub. I like to let the perimeter officials own that. However, there are times when I'm going to ask, if I'm thinking it is, I'm going to ask them and make them tell me if we're going into an auto sub. And I think this is one where if I have something going on with the quarterback, or if I have something going on with somebody else and I don't know, and I look up, I'm probably not going to even think that it's a sub, to be honest, because I'm seeing a dude running in with the ball. So it would have to be the perimeter officials telling me, hey, we got an auto sub or bench sub or box sub or whatever people say.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your sensibility from your position. Now, as you watch this play, and maybe let's say this was your crew, and whatever you did with this last week, you want to talk about this week.
Right. I would never want this to be an auto sub.
Yeah,
in this situation.
So why? Why? I agree with you, but why?
Because there's no other white players anywhere near where this dude went out of bounds. Yeah. Yes, he went into the white as he rolled out, but there is nobody else anywhere near him. There's no question in my mind that he's the same player that played the last down. And I think if someone who's sitting up in a box, because this is what the whole point of this substitution thing is for coaches who may get confused and not knowing what packages are coming in. There's nobody who will be confused about this person playing. I would not want this to be an auto sub if it's my crew.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I tend to agree. I would love to see some opinions, from others that are here. Just him touching the white as he rolls to get up with the ball. I mean, he has the ball and he's running it back in. It's what we asked them to do.
Yeah.
If they want to play faster, run the ball back into the middle. He does a great job of that. Head line judge did a great job communicating why it's necessary, why that's a really good idea for 86 to run the football back into the middle of the field. I just don't, if we talk about optics, I just don't know how optically this plays well for us by shutting this down. Just feels like maybe we're not in tune with what's going on in the game. But I could hear another side of the argument too, which I would like to. I don't know if there is one.
Well, we got some guidance early in the year that when a player goes into the white, it's an auto sub. So sometimes, I think
when a player goes into the white,
and he went into the white.
No,
yes, he did.
He didn't go into the white. I mean, he was down in bounds, and then he kind of just rolled and got up and moved.
And he rolled where, Brandon Cruz?
He rolled
into the white.
He didn't go into the white. He was forced out.
You asked for a counter argument. I think if we're very, very literal, this is a player in the white, and it should be an auto sub. Now, let me say this. On this exact scenario, if a couple of his teammates came and helped him get up off the ground, then I think we may have a different situation and a different evaluation relative to auto sub, because now we got 3 white players in the white area around the ball, and that could easily be confusing. But there's nobody from his team anywhere near him. So it's just for me, this is just not a situation where I would want to go auto sub at all.
Now, this is one of those things where once somebody kills this, I mean, we're stuck with it.
Oh, we're done. Yeah, we're stuck.
We just got to eat it. It's nothing to do. And look, if the guidance goes into the white, and you want to interpret that as this, knock yourself out. I don't think anybody's going to have any issue if we don't stop this. I mean, I can't imagine anybody having a problem. But so that's interesting. So now that we stop it, though, so we do stop it because we did have an interpretation. Now we kind of understand why with all that guidance out there. Is the clock? Is there anything that we need to worry about with the clock, or are we just kind of at 3.5 minutes ish? So we're okay. Or I mean,
yeah, I ain't messing with the clock.
Okay. Just reset it to 25.
The play clock?
Yeah.
Yeah, the play clock got to go to 25 because it's an administrative stoppage. If somebody has some kind of awareness that maybe after we blew the whistle, a couple more seconds ran, I don't know. I don't want to mess with. I wouldn't want to mess with this. It's bad enough, and really, I want to dig a hole right now. So I'm just ready to go. Let's just start the game back.
Well, now you do see at the end of that line feed clip, like we reset it and we blow it and we wind it, and then boom, like 5 more seconds come off. So I just want to maybe think about, I don't know, maybe communicate with the quarterback here, like, hey, the clock's gonna. It's just like we do on an admin. It's not under 2. I mean, this is different than an under 2.
I was about to say, with this much time, I don't think I'm bothering the quarterback, and I'm not messing with it.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it's too much time left in the game for me to get into having those kind of discussions. I'll let the game go. Let's just
gotcha. Okay, good. So we're not into that. Yeah, good question here. Like, if the line of scrimmage official comes out immediately in the iron cross, does that make a difference? Absolutely, because to me, because that line of scrimmage official made an active interpretation that this was a team box sub or an auto sub.
Yep, and we're going to go
into his prerogative. That's his job.
Yep.
And guess what we're going to do?
Go into subs.
We're going to enforce it.
That's right.
Because I mean, we're not going to sit there and say, "What are you talking about?" No, I'm not going to like wave him off.
No.
Because I mean, that's his responsibility.
That's
his
correct.
or her up there. So, yeah, cool. Okay, well, that's quick. That's a quick hit. But I thought it was interesting. These types of situations can be a little uneasy.
Right.
Very
uneasy.
Yeah.
And it seems so simplistic, Brandon. The substitution process, it seems so simplistic, but there are so many different layers, and we get ourselves into situations. And some of the biggest issues that coaches have had in my experience with me in games that I've been in is with substitutions. And it's like,
Oh, absolutely.
we got all this other stuff that we're doing, all these other type of foul categories. We've got all this stuff, and substitutions can really, really, really ruin a game if we don't handle that process well. So we do need to spend a lot of time in ensuring that we're all on the same page and that we're going to work together as a crew to manage that process.
There you go. All right, let's work some clocks.
All right, we got every now and then a play comes up and it's like, man, there's 17 million what if scenarios. So thankfully we stopped a little short of 17 million. There's some polls that we're going to have. Read the polls carefully because some of them are pretend scenarios, some of them are real scenarios. We're going to ask a bunch of questions on this one particular play. So we see what the play is, and we're going to load up a bunch of polls. It's not a bunch. It's just 2 or 3 of them, okay? And in some of the scenarios, it's 4th down, and I think in one of the scenarios, it's not 4th down. So just read the question carefully.
Rapid fire polling.
Yeah, what's the rest of these polls? Come on, poll.
Oh yeah, they're all up. I just clicked do it later, so they're all, for me, I got to figure out what the heck's going on here.
Yeah, you got to watch the play, and then you could.
Wow, you really did have a bad day.
so we can see what happened. In some of the scenarios, it's 4th down. In some of the scenarios, it's not 4th down. And we just need to know how are we going to handle this. And there's some clock situations. There's some ball placement situations. It's going to take a while for people to process.
Yeah. Is this a fumble in all these scenarios?
Yes, it is a fumble in every scenario.
Got it. Okay. Be pretty good for him to make this look like a fumble like this, but actually pass it. I don't think he did that though.
Yeah, I don't think he did either.
What?
Oh my goodness.
You want me to summarize the polls, Brandon? Or you want everyone to read on their own? I know you have trouble with reading comprehension. I know that's not your strong suit.
I'm working through it, man. My cortisol level is that's the stress hormone.
Okay.
My cortisol level is spiking. I'm stressed out. This is stressing me out right here.
It should.
Okay.
Well, guess what? This is an actual play. This play actually happened. I'm not sure if you know that or not. This is not a pretend play. Yeah.
Right.
No.
Feels like last week when I didn't even get to see a poll 1.
Yeah, I know. You need to do better. I'm just going to throw that out there. You need to do better.
Yeah. Well, I got my first off-season quiz today, so I'm a little stressed out about that too. And
Ooh.
I mean,
Did a dog run onto the field in any of your plays?
Probably. Yeah. You got to get the shotgun out or something. I don't know. Geese landing on the field. There's some hitting going on in this game, man.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to check on these responses. People are doing pretty well. We got yeah. Couple of polls. We gone through the plays 17 times, getting there. Yeah. We only need to see the play once, right? To be honest, let's just see the play once. The questions are the difference. So
in my poll 2, See that? I'm only through poll 2. So replay stops the game to review targeting, which is confirmed, meaning replay puts on targeting.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry. That was
No,
the poll writer didn't write that
just
very
to
well.
clarifying.
Yeah.
Because we didn't call it.
Yeah, it was
but
no
then
flag,
we
but replay
stop it
stopped
and
the
it's
game and then
confirmed.
said, yes, there is targeting.
So they're putting it on. Got it.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Correct. This is very interesting. I love what we're doing here because we obviously have a lot to discuss. And that's the whole point of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This is amazing.
Oh, shoot.
And to be honest, I don't know the answer to half of these, so I'm just going to throw that out there. So
Only
Daniel, we're going to need you here.
Well, I think I think I've answered every one of them wrong. I thought you said some of them were fourth down, and in my head they're all fourth down. So I'm not doing too hot.
Oh my God. Jeez.
There's only one that's fourth down.
I don't know. I told you I don't know, man. Just read. I told you read the question carefully.
Oh man, I know, but I didn't do that. I didn't read it carefully at all.
Sorry? Question mark?
You should be. I mean, it's your fault.
I think it's time. I think it's time to start talking. Y'all want to start talking? Y'all want to end these polls and start talking?
Yeah, hold on, wait. Yeah, give me a sec.
What, you voting 3 times, Daniel? What's going on? You stuffing the ballot box?
What's the least amount of? Never mind.
All right, whatever. Let's go.
This is fun.
I figured you would like this one, Brandon. This one was all for you.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure there's 100 scenarios that were not discussed here.
Okay.
Let's see, where's the closed poll? Closed poll. Oh, people are abstaining from a couple of these polls. I don't like that. I don't know the answer either. So just click a button.
Exactly. It's stressful. You know
Why?
Well, I'm just telling you, it's stressful.
All right, we closed all the polls.
Okay. What are we doing first?
This is the one we're going to do first. Let's pretend it's fourth down. Okay.
Let me get to that one. Okay, gotcha.
That's the one that's kind of up top on my screen. I don't know if that's the
Mine
one
too.
up top. Yeah.
Yep.
So the quarterback fumbled the ball short of the line to gain. It was 152 on the game clock when he fumbled, and then it turned into 150 on the game clock when the play ended. And we're going to pretend that this was fourth down. So 57% of us say the crew should move the ball back to the spot of fumble and leave the clock at 150. 33% of us say the crew should move the ball back to the spot of the fumble and reset the clock to 152. Wow. And then 10% of us say the crew should move the ball back to the spot of fumble and use a replay assist if we don't know what the time the fumble occurred. So basically, 43% of us say we need to reset the clock to when the ball was fumbled. What do we think about that?
Well,
why would we do that?
That's a great question, DY.
Okay. What stops the clock?
It certainly is not the fumble.
Not the fumble.
Right.
Because the ball is still live when it was fumbled.
Right. So if that's fourth down, the clock stops when the non-fumbler
recovers or possesses.
The play is dead. The ball is dead when the non-fumbler recovers. Does the clock even stop? I guess if it's fourth down,
it's fourth down. It has to stop.
It has to stop if it's fourth down. Yeah. Okay.
And the interesting thing here is that, see, this is crazy. The play ended for all intents and purposes before the line to gain was reached.
Right.
Do we all on the field have an awareness of that? I guess we don't, but does it even matter for how we handle stopping the clock when number 11, I think it is, catches the ball?
I think it does.
If we're under I mean, I would think if we're under 2
if
with
we're
the
under
rules. I mean,
Yeah, if
your
we're under
point-
2, it's a first down in the field of play, right?
Yeah.
right. So we're going to stop the clock.
We're going to stop it either way.
Right. Let's say it's outside of 2. We shouldn't stop the clock when 11
That's
gets
what
the
I
ball.
was kind of
huh?
going.
Correct.
We
Weird.
shouldn't stop the clock.
Yeah. So we do need
No
to know
reason
whether
to stop.
he made the line to gain at the spot of the fumble.
If it's 4th down, yeah, because
Correct.
because if we return it to the spot of the fumble, which is short of the line to gain, which is what we're saying here, then it would create a stop clock
Right.
for the turnover on downs.
Yeah.
Right.
Outside of 2, under 2, it's either, you stop it either way, I believe.
Stop it either way. Because it's going to be a stop clock for a first down or a stop clock for
Turnover and down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But in this situation, we're not going to return the clock to where it was when it was fumbled because the ball is still live until number 11 got it.
Yeah,
Now,
the
would
only
we
time
would
it's
we go
relevant
back
is
to
11
when
inches out.
will we reset the clock to where number 11 got it using a replay assist, or if someone has awareness? I would hope that as we're on the field, when we kill the clock, we look at the clock. Kill the clock, look at the clock. Kill the clock, look at the clock. And that's one mistake that we tend to make sometimes is we kill the clock but don't look at the clock. So when we kill the clock, when number 11 gets this ball and we look at the clock, then we would have positive knowledge of what the clock should be if more time ran off like it did in this particular play. Even though this was not 4th down, this was a first down. Okay, so is there anything else we need to discuss from a 4th down fumble rule perspective?
I don't think so.
Okay, next one. Okay, let's pretend like there was a flag on the field for targeting for the hit on the quarterback, and the call was reversed to no targeting, and we see what the clock is. The game situation is 1:52 on the game clock. Well, that was when the quarterback got hit. It's in the second quarter. It's 1:52 on the game clock. So if there's a flag on the field for targeting, how do we handle this? And replay said, nope, there's no targeting here. So 65% of us say the game clock should start on the ready for play since Team B did not commit a foul. 29% of us say there's a 10-second runoff unless either team uses a timeout. And 6% of us say the game clock should start on the snap since it was stopped because of a Team B foul. What are we supposed to do here?
Oh. Which one are we on? Which one are we on again? The flag
The
down.
second one on my screen is a flag down for targeting, and replay reversed it to no
Yes.
targeting.
Okay. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, so the result of the play is the same. Fumble, short of the line to gain, recovered and advanced beyond the line to gain.
Correct.
And we called targeting.
And we call targeting on the
So-
hit on the quarterback.
And the quarterback is the dude that fumbles.
And the quarterback fumbled the ball.
That's not like I've watched this play 100 times. Okay. Okay. All right. And replay says no.
No,
There's
that's not targeting.
So
Nope.
so in my I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but I always consider that a flag pickup.
I know. And that's where I get confused, and not confused, but just I guess I just don't really get it.
Okay.
So I think it's a flag pickup too.
All right.
What do you think, DY?
Why
is this important? Why is it important? Well, hold on. Let's talk about the 10-second runoff situation.
Okay.
When
This
does
is
10-second runoff
first-
scenarios start? This is the second quarter.
59 seconds.
Exactly. It has to be under a minute. So let's make sure we understand that. It does not matter. None of this stuff matters. Unless we're under a minute, we're not even getting into 10-second runoff situations. So we have 2-minute timing rules, and then we have 1-minute timing rules.
Oh, wow.
And let's make sure we don't conflate or whatever the two. 10-second
Good point.
runoff only starts under a minute. So we ain't doing that. So it's
C
not going
is
to be a
out.
10-second runoff here. C is out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great point. Great point.
So then the question becomes, and why is it important about a foul when we're under 2 minutes?
Team ahead in the score.
Yep.
That's right. And team B is ahead in the score, and they did commit a foul.
But we end up not
picking it up. Right.
it
So they did not really commit a foul.
because it's always the penalty completed. So you can't. Here's how I always thought about it. I don't know if I'm right. The rule says something about the penalty being completed. Or am I wrong on that?
I'm getting there. I was trying to buy time while I scrolled through my book.
Historically dating myself. Anyways, you can't get to a penalty if you don't first have a foul. So this isn't a declined penalty. This isn't an accepted penalty.
Correct.
This is a foul that was thrown on the field and replay decided it wasn't. To me, I always thought this was a flag pickup. And therefore you can't ever complete a penalty, and therefore you can't get into those rules. So to me, I'm going as if there was never a flag thrown, and that's ready for play. But
even though we had the administrative stoppage to evaluate if there was a foul. Right.
That's a special. I just always thought, okay, Mr. Replay official is no different than the back judge helping the side judge pick up his flag in this case. And if we did that, that's an administrative stoppage. And then what would we do? We would just go with the status of the clock. So
Right.
I
like that. DY, what you like that? You good with that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. I don't know. Did we ever come around to the completed penalty? Because that's the way I've thought about this in the past as well. And yeah, I don't think we can give them that option when there's no foul committed.
Correct. So we're not completing a I like how you said that, Brandon. We're not completing a penalty because there's no foul.
Exactly.
Okay. So there is no option for team A to say, I want this on the snap. This clock is going to start on a ready for play after this. In the scenario that we have where there's a flag for targeting and replay reverse the call.
Right.
And all right.
It's their ball at the end of the play.
At the end of the play, correct. Because this is not there's no fourth down fumble rule here.
Okay.
Whew. Next one.
So
all right.
The book does say if the game clock is stopped to complete a penalty for a foul by team ahead in the score.
Yeah.
Boom.
And complete a penalty, I think, is in Rule 2. It tells us what that is, and there is no completeness penalty.
2, maybe 10. Not sure. It might be in 10.
Oh, it might be in 10. Okay.
But go ahead. That's just details.
All right, next scenario. The quarterback fumbled the ball short of line to gain. There's no flag down for targeting, but replay stopped the game to review targeting, and targeting is confirmed. So in this situation, no flag on the play. After the play was over, replay page and say, whoa, wait a minute. We need to look and see if this is possible targeting. And then replay said, yep, this is targeting. 55% of us say the game clock will start on the ready for play. 45% of us say the game clock will start on the snap. Is replay creating a foul and then us enforcing the penalty synonymous with us throwing a flag on the field and enforcing a penalty? I think that's the major question that we need to answer.
It's a heck of a question. Why would it not be, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's just different. Did we complete a penalty here? I mean, it's
yeah, I guess. Was the game clock stopped to complete the penalty, though?
Yeah.
Because we're going to stop this clock because this is a first down inbounds under 2 minutes.
Right.
And then we stop the clock, we blow the whistle, and then here comes replay paging us before the referee can even wind the clock back up. Replay pages us.
Yeah. I think it's in the snap. I think you just, I don't know. I could be wrong. I honestly don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
Either.
looking for some logic around both answers, and I'm not sure I am providing any. I just feel like we're completing a penalty in that case, with and the foul was by the team ahead in the score under 2. I mean, I don't know. But I guess the other side of the coin could be the fact that, well, it's really a replay created situation. So,
well, not only that, we didn't stop the clock for that foul. We stopped the clock.
That penalty.
Yeah.
Okay. If we had targeting here on the field that was confirmed, we'd go on the
I
snap.
don't think we got there yet. I think that might be the next poll. Hold on.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Well, the next poll, I think we're going to pretend it's 4th down. So,
well, and there's a flag down too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's
Sorry.
2 things.
It's just so much going on.
I know, but there's so many different things that it could happen, and I don't know the answer to any of them. I think I like what you're saying, though, Brandon. I would prefer to go on the snap because it's like Team B is ahead. They committed a foul. We ain't winding this clock back up. I wouldn't want to wind the clock back up.
Yeah. I mean, that's simple. Is there any so I'm just thinking about a reversal, but I don't know if creating targeting really isn't a reversal in the sense of, plus it doesn't really impact the clock. So
no, it doesn't change the ruling on the field.
Yeah.
There's this editorial phrase that was inserted in this little section of the rule book this year that says, and the clock would start by rule on the referee signal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helps us a little bit here because coming out of this, if it's just the first down, we are by rule going to start it on the referee signal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that helps us. I get what you're saying. It says the clock is stopped to complete the penalty, but I think that piece added in there like supports giving Team B Team A the option here.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Yeah. So that'd be in there.
Yeah.
Well, I would do that if I would do that if I was in the game. But I don't know if it's right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, that's logical. I mean, it makes sense, and it seems like that rule clause supports it, especially since it's new.
Right. All right. Well, provided clarity there. Next one. So we're going to pretend it was 4th down, and there was a flag down for targeting. So we threw the flag for the hit on the quarter. We threw the targeting for the hit on the quarterback, and this is 4th down. And the call was confirmed. So, yep, that was targeting. Now, what are we supposed to do? 44% of us say Team A will have the option regarding snap or ready for play. 28% of us say the game clock should be reset to 152. That's when the quarterback fumbled. And we'll start on the snap. I think we already kind of dismissed that when we did the first poll. The ball is still live when the quarterback fumbles it. The ball is live, so we're not going to reset to that point.
Not going to reset to the fumble spot.
Okay. Yeah, we're not doing that. 17% of us say the game clock should not be reset, and we'll start on the ready for play. 11% of us say the game clock should not be reset and will start on the snap. So it's fourth down. Quarterback fumbled. When he got hit, we threw a flag and say, whoa, that's targeting. And then replay says, yep, that was targeting. So now when we come out of replay, we got to know what to do with the clock. What are we supposed to do?
Well, first of all,
go
ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. One thing we are going to do is we're going to reset to when the team number 11 got possession of the ball.
Yes.
This is under 2 minutes, and we are going to reset the clock to that point. So we're not going to reset it. We're not going to leave it alone, and that wasn't one of the options. But that is something that we need to consider. Once 11 gets the ball, the play is over, is dead, because it was fourth down, and replay should have positive knowledge of that clock situation. So we would reset at that point. Now, relative to, are we going to start on the snap or the ready for play? I don't know.
It feels like we have another foul by B, and they're ahead, and we're completing that penalty.
Okay.
Is there any other like that? That's what I like about the rule. I always like that about this rule 3-4-3. It didn't really care about what else happened. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like line to gain,
yes,
injury. I mean, I don't know. I know that all that stuff can get complicated, but 3-4-3 just kind of is like, you know what? The team had committed a foul. We complete the penalty. Let's just give them the option. I mean, it just seems like it's pretty simple.
I agree with that, because there's no such thing as it has to be the only reason why the clock was stopped and all that, like you mentioned with the helmet and all that. If the clock is stopped to complete a penalty, which in this case it was, then team A, since they're the team behind, has the option.
Yeah. And I mean, this fourth down fumble rule can complicate things, and the replay stoppage can complicate things, but I think that's all you're left with.
Yeah.
And we're enforcing this from the fumble spot, correct?
The penalty will be, what's the basic spot, Brandon Cruz?
Yeah, basic spot is the end of that run, I believe.
It is. The foul occurred during number 8's run, not during number 11's run. So the basic spot is the end of number 8's run, and the spot of the foul happens to be the same as the basic
it's
spot.
A foul by B, so we're enforcing those from the basic spot usually. Certainly in this case we are.
Yep. So we're going to go half the distance to the goal from the 21 or whatever that was.
I kind of like the 20.
At position 5. I know you like the 20. We heard about that too.
20 to the, oh, yeah. Yeah, there's the even numbers.
Even numbers. Yeah. And then, and then we're going to ask Team B, what do you want to do with the clock? Do you want on the snap or the ready for play? And we need to ask them, because they're about to score here. We don't know what they're going to do. We don't know if they want to run the clock, if they don't want to run the clock. Let's not just try to be smart and be superheroes and be so intelligent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Go ask the coach.
That's a recipe for mismanagement. Okay, and just to make sure I'm tracking, this is a live ball, because we're pretending it's fourth down. This is a live ball targeting foul. This isn't a dead ball targeting foul, right?
It is not a dead ball targeting foul. It is a live ball targeting foul.
Because the result of this play, after you invoke the fourth down fumble rule, is the offense is short of the line to gain.
Correct. So if the targeting was a hit after the play was over, then Team B would retain the ball after enforcement of the targeting penalty. But
that's interesting.
Yes, this foul occurred while the ball was live. So Team A is going to be able to keep possession of the ball.
Okay. Well, you got us thinking a lot here.
There's a lot of thinking.
I know. I mean, this play is, and I feel like probably everybody's scratching their head, and I think there's a bunch
I think
more
we are.
questions than answers that we provided. But this is a great play to go home and sit there
Yeah.
and for about 3 weeks go stew on because I mean, I don't know. There's so many different things could happen. And what are we supposed to do with the clock? I don't know. If we throw a
Right.
flag, do we start it? Do we stop it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And like you said, that 10-second runoff thing, we got to know when those rules kick in.
Yes.
We can't just
We got to know that code. Yeah, we got to know that code.
trapped. We can't get trapped at all of a sudden putting a 10-second runoff on that doesn't exist. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. That one little play can create all these scenarios.
Yeah, we're not done yet, Brandon.
Oh my goodness. Oh, here we go.
We're gonna have some replays that kind of show more detail on the hit and everything. Now we need to evaluate if it's targeting or not.
And we know to do that, we're going to evaluate 3 separate but related elements. Right?
Is congruent? Will congruent work right there, Daniel? 3 separate but congruent elements?
I don't know.
Yes, that will work. In agreement or harmony. Those different elements are harmonious with each other.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
proximal. I think they are harmonious. I agree.
So I'm gonna be honest here. While we sit here and we go through all of this stuff and start looking and evaluating the targeting and the different elements of targeting, this play is still bothering me because I honestly don't. You know, I'm pretty firm on a lot of the times when we have answers on different things. I'm really fuzzy on literally every
Right.
poll question that we asked.
Yeah, it just feels. It feels like there's a lot of opportunity to make these rules easier.
Right.
This 3-4-3 thing, it probably was not created with replay impacts in mind. So
Yeah.
I don't know if there's casebook scenarios that need to be created or what, but man, I don't know. Oh my goodness, this poll is
All right, so we need to know if number 8 is defenseless because he's the player receiving the hit. We need to know if number 4, student athlete number 4 of Notre Dame, if he displayed an indicator of targeting. And then we need to know if there was forcible contact to number 8's head if he was defenseless, or if there was forcible contact using the crown of number 4's helmet if number 8 was not defenseless. I guess that's an and or on that last one.
okay. Definitely an and or. Oh, I'm exhausted.
I know, man. That this play is very exhausting. It'll make you break out into sweats, honestly.
You know, and if that's not enough, then when we do get into the world of the 10-second runoffs, you know, this whole thing about it being pure was introduced a few years ago.
Yes.
And I don't know if that did anything to clarify it. I know that was the attempt, and I think it probably was well constructed, but man, there's all these scenarios just remember all these scenarios out there that kind of challenge all that, you know, and it's, man, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
we got a good split on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna close the poll.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Element number 1, it looks like there's a yes and a yes. 10% of us say this player is defenseless. 90% of us say the player is not defenseless. So, DY, what we got on that?
Well, I mean, what is he? He's just a ball carrier at this point, right? He's upright. He's running with the ball. He's certainly getting contact from another defender, but that's not enough to make him defenseless in this scenario. He's just a ball carrier trying to stay alive and gain yards.
There you go. So yeah, by rule, this dude is not defenseless. And I know the defenseless list is not exhaustive, but I don't know if we can stretch this one. He's not being held. Where his forward progress is stopped. He's not there. There's almost nothing we can do here to say that this runner is defenseless. So I agree. This dude is not defenseless. He's just,
I would say that even though it's probably not a real word, he's defenseful. I mean, he sees this guy coming on and he's full of defense, right? I mean, he kind of tries to brace and crouch to absorb this hit. Yeah.
Let's put that one on the shelf, Brandon. Maybe let's not use
No,
that one.
you didn't like that one? I thought that might be your alley.
That's full. That's
All
not
right.
right. All right. Next element is the indicator element. Hold on. Let's see if someone asked a question before defensive. Matthew says defensive, not defenseless. That's much better than defenseful.
Oh, no, I'm taking offense. Indicator is 7. I think it's, if I did the Luxner math, it's 76% yes and 24% no. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Okay.
That's a pretty big split. That's a bigger split.
3/4 of us are saying yes to the indicator by the player delivering the hit, right?
Yeah, number 4. Notre Dame's number 4.
Okay. Man. I'll start. I don't have it as one.
You don't have an indicator.
No. I'm feeling weird about this. I don't really see him. I know the head goes down. I understand that, but I don't see him like lining him up and attacking with the crown of the helmet. I mean, I think that's a good shoulder into a runner, head to the side. So tell me, that's my evaluation.
So Brandon, and inherent in your answer and your response just now was that you feel like unless he's doing something with the crown, I think we talked about this either last week or a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Your targeting indicator has to come with a crown since you've already determined that this player is not defenseless. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. DY, you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's make sure. I guess I love that too, and I think we need to. We always say we evaluate these elements individually, but we kind of don't. So if we already say this dude is not defenseless, then the indicator has to match with the 913 targeting, which really is attacking with the crown of the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't see this player attacking with the crown of the helmet, then there is no indicator. From the low end zone camera angle, I agree with you. I see his head low, but I really don't see him attacking with the head. I see him trying to wrap up and kind of put his head to the side and use his shoulder, like you said, Brandon. And there is some helmet contact. We can't say there's not some helmet contact. Yeah, there is, but I don't see number 4 attacking with his helmet either.
Okay.
Daniel, are you 76%?
So you and I agree.
I'm not 24%.
You and I agree. I'm not sure I'm loving that.
No, you love that. You do. Secretly, I mean, you outwardly talk about crap like that, but you go home and you probably like, yes.
So this is so interesting because everything at the start of this looks like 4 is coming in to use that crown of the helmet. And then when you see this other angle, the one we just watched before that, it's almost like he intentionally gets his head to the side right there. There's like an angle to the right, just enough to get the crown out of it, in my opinion. And see right there, we see there's just that slight tilt of the neck to the right where he ends up using the side of the helmet, which I know we're now talking about the force. But like we said, everything, there's connections here. And that force ends up being like that because of that movement of his head, which is kind of, and this sounds crazy as close as this is kind of the opposite of an indicator. And it's an indicator of him not trying to attack with the crown of the helmet. It's super subtle, but that's the way that I interpreted what he was doing right there at the point of contact also.
Yeah. You know what else I love? His face mask is kind of up at contact. He kind of lifts his head is almost facing forward, even though he's really, really, really low with and in that, what do you call that, Brandon? A parallel posture.
Linear body posture.
Linear body posture. But his head is, and you can see it in some of those low ISO shots. His face mask is kind of up and not facing down.
I really,
right.
we don't want to get too carried away with anything. I just really like to see a distinctive tucking of the chin and really like kind of putting that crown out there whenever we're looking for that indicator.
Right. Okay. So we don't see an indicator. Next, we need to evaluate the forcible contact aspect. And obviously, forcible contact can mean multiple things. Specifically, since this player is no longer, we've already determined that he's not defenseless, then the forcible contact has to come with the crown of the helmet. And I think it's pretty obvious we don't even see the crown of the helmet making contact, much less creating any forcible contact.
Right.
Yeah, you can see the crown of the helmet all the way throughout this contact.
Yeah.
Yep. So good work. I mean, just a football play, but no, I mean, it's not, it's a targeting evaluation play, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened in the game. This thing is, I guess replay got involved. So hopefully they went through the process. I don't really care what, they came up with, but again, this whole just a football play, it's not just a football play. We're doing this over and over for these reasons to, develop some really good common language in these elements.
So one comment and one question from Matthew, and I was thinking about this too. We can see in one of those low ISO angles that the initial contact was in the shoulder. Let's say this dude did have a targeting indicator. Let's say he did come flying in with the crown of his helmet, and you can see the initial contact was on the shoulder. If that crown went through the shoulder into the dude's head with the same amount of force, would we have a different evaluation of, obviously we would have an indicator. Will we have a different evaluation of the force aspect? Because the initial contact is clearly in the shoulder of the quarterback. Does that, is my question making sense? Am I asking?
I think so. I think it's certainly possible. I think it's very possible. I don't know is really the question does initial contact is all that matters is initial contact? Is that?
Yeah, I guess the question is, can we have force to the head if the initial contact was in the shoulder?
Well, we don't have to have force to the head.
Well, I'm sorry. Oh, that's a good point.
Force with the head.
Yeah, it's force with the head. Oh yeah,
and
if
we
he
have
planted the crown of his helmet right in that dude's shoulder. You're right, Daniel. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And we have an indicator. Yeah. Sure. I think we've seen that quite a lot. Quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other thing is, from a visual mechanics standpoint, who should really have a good look at this hit from a visual mechanics standpoint?
Cool. That's a good question.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to see all of this if you're not aware of this defensive player, right?
Right. because then you'll just see a blow. You'll just see a big hit if you're not tracking the defensive player or aware, not tracking like staring at the dude, but aware of where he is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it would be hard to evaluate that indicator piece. If
Right.
it's just a big collision,
Right.
because maybe we're looking at the ball or a different block. So I don't know. It's usually we don't call this very much, right? We don't really call this very much.
What?
Just a crown of the helmet
913s
shot.
on runners?
Crown of the helmet shot in the middle of the field on a run.
No.
We don't
Yeah,
call
we don't.
that.
Those are normally replay creating those.
Exactly. So that just goes, and I'm not saying we're bad. Man, it's hard to get a real good picture of that in real time with the indicator, with the force of the contact, and just knowing how I have it. That is just so hard.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I think here, I want to maybe the deep wing. I don't know. Probably not. Maybe the back judge. Back judge probably has the best shot.
Yeah, the deep wing, I mean, he has two players just running downfield doing nothing, just like snuggling with each other on the sideline. It's really something that we can challenge ourselves to do, is recognize when there's just nothing going on with our players downfield, even though they're quote unquote our guy, and just start doing something else with our eyes.
Yeah. There it is.
Ed says, let's show it one time next time
One
and then
time.
close the poll. You
Just
get
have
one look at it.
one look. And Ed's like, we'll show you how good line of scrimmage officials are then. Like, we get one shot at all these tough judgments all the time, and we just got to make them, right?
That's right.
I kind of like it.
All right. Well,
All
this is
right.
one play that you can go home and you can spend like months with this play. And
Oh, my gosh. Incredible.
yeah.
Incredible. Notre Dame, Tennessee State. Who would have thought? That's outstanding. There's our guy, Reggie Smith, as the rules analyst, too.
Right.
I hope that went well for him. I haven't had the pleasure recently, so hopefully good friend from long ago. Hopefully that's all going well.
Yeah.
For sure. All right.
All right. 185 in the books.
Here we go.
That was stressful. Thank you.
That's a lot.
All right. Later.
All right. Later.
All right. Good job, guys.